Get ready for a real-life space adventure. Moving to a new home can feel like a crazy roller coaster of emotions. It's like juggling multiple crises all at once: the chaos of packing up, the stress of change, and maybe even some heartbreak. But here's the thing: what if our next big move isn't just across town or to another state? What if we're talking about blasting off into outer space and making Mars our new home base? As crazy as it sounds, with Earth facing challenges like climate change, this might not be as far-fetched as you think. Imagine if your home was suddenly packed to the max. You're talking multiple families crammed into a small space. That's basically what our planet is facing. And it's not just about feeling like you're tripping over each other. With the global population soaring from 7.8 billion today to an estimated 10 billion by 2050, 7 and almost 11 billion by 2100, scientists are sounding the alarms. Earth might soon be bursting at its seams. Can you picture it? It's like that one crazy family reunion that never ends. But instead of just a few days, this is our new reality. Buckle up. The thought of leaving our home planet for good might seem like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But hear us out. Mars is actually being considered as the potential next big address. It's close enough to be feasible. And who knows, maybe one day we'll even have Martian street food. Now, you're right that population growth isn't the only reason for intergalactic relocation. There are other pressing issues at play here too. Let's just say Earth could use a little less of us, and a whole lot more space to breathe, literally. Imagine you're living life on Earth, figuring out how to thrive with limited resources. It's like a real-life survival show. Meanwhile, Mother Nature is throwing in some curveballs, like asteroids hurtling towards us. Scientists are always on the lookout for these space rocks, and sometimes they just can't avoid them. If that day comes when we have no escape from an impending asteroid impact, we'll be forced to pack our bags and make a break for it. But here's the catch: we're not quite ready to set up shop elsewhere just yet. You thought it was just one problem, but there's actually a major one. Space isn't as spacious as you'd think. Let's do some cosmic comparisons. Earth is like the big sibling here, with a massive size that's hard to match. Mars, on the other hand, is about half our planet's diameter, which means it has roughly 53% of Earth's radius. Now, when we look at surface area, things seem a bit more promising. Mars offers an impressive 4.37 million square kilometers for us to call home. But that's still a tiny fraction of what Earth provides. Let's put some serious numbers in perspective. Mars is tiny compared to our home planet. We're talking 28% of Earth's surface area when we measure it at 5.74 million square miles. But wait, things change when we focus on land alone and leave out the ocean. Then Earth's land masses are almost equal in size to Mars' entire territory. Now let's dive into mass. Mars weighs a whopping 642 sextillion kilograms, or 1,415 sextillion pounds, which is an astonishing 10 times less than our planet. These aren't just stats from an old textbook. They hold the secrets of two vastly different worlds, waiting to be explored and understood. Let's talk about the weighty issue, literally. A planet's mass is a big deal for us because it impacts gravity, which in turn affects our bodies. Spending years on Mars would mean your muscles and spine would have to constantly adapt to unfamiliar gravitational loads, posing serious health risks. But before we dive into the population puzzle, let's not forget that this isn't even the biggest hurdle when considering life beyond Earth. Now imagine you're on Mars, but it's not a party with hundreds of people, at least not yet. The harsh Martian environment demands careful planning. Initially, only a small crew would brave the trip to set up a temporary base and act as our Martian trailblazers. Their main task: get everything ready for the larger group that might eventually follow. So, what do Martian pioneers need first? A reliable food source. Since Mars is a barren planet with no forests or wild edibles, our scouts would have to start a garden from scratch. The good news: scientists say certain crops like beans, potatoes, and asparagus could actually thrive on the red planet under the right conditions. Let's hope these spuds will be the first Martian settlers' new favorite snack. Food on Mars wouldn't be growing overnight. It would take time before those beans and spuds are ready to munch on. To keep hunger at bay, Martian settlers would need a stash of non-perishable food items that can last for months, giving them enough grub while they wait for the garden to grow. But once the pantry's stocked, it's time to build some homes. Talk about multitasking on Mars. You're wondering, what's the Martian building block going to be? Lugging all that construction gear and materials from Earth would break the bank, big time. So, researchers are brainstorming other ways to get the job done. One cool idea is using 3D printers, which can whip up buildings in no time. But here's the thing, those special printer inks aren't exactly budget-friendly either. That's why scientists have a new plan. Let's turn to what we've got tons of on Mars: all dust. This Martian building plan is shaping up well, and it's a game changer. Not only would using Martian dust make construction way faster and cheaper, but it also solved two major puzzles: figuring out how to build things in space and picking the right materials. But wait, we still have another big question. Where will all those future Martian house builders actually live? Guess what? NASA's already tackling this challenge. Back in 2016, several companies started working on designing habitats that could be transported straight to Mars, so our future red planet settlers would have a place to call home. Creating a home for Martian residents is no easy task. We're talking a long list of must-haves. First and foremost, it's got a shield against super strong radiation from space. Plus, keep the inside cozy with air to breathe, water to drink, and a stable temperature. No surprise there, right? But here's the thing, humans have never actually lived on another planet before. So all this is totally uncharted territory. That being said, the designers are drawing inspiration from something we already know works: pretty well life support systems found in space stations like the ones orbiting Earth. One difference though, these Martian homes might be a bit more cramped than your average space station. But here's another thing to consider: people need room to breathe, both literally and figuratively. Space is at a premium when it comes to designing Martian habitats, so we'll have to make sure there's enough elbow room for everyone. Fingers crossed that in the long-term homes on Mars, this essential aspect of living won't be forgotten. Meanwhile, all systems are go for the big move, and NASA's got a head start with plans to mine resources right from the Martian surface, setting up a sustainable future for human settlers. To tackle this massive mission, NASA's brought out a game-changing tool. Meet Razor, their cutting-edge robot designed to handle tough terrain. With Razor leading the charge, it's clear that they're taking a methodical approach, focusing on every detail and working through challenges as they arise. But while we're making strides, there are still some major mysteries surrounding life on Mars waiting to be solved. Like, how would we even begin to cope with its hostile atmosphere? Before we start suiting up for a Martian stroll, let's get real. Stepping out of the space station isn't an option just yet. Mars' atmosphere is basically 95% carbon dioxide, making it way too hostile to breathe without some serious protective gear. Think pressurized suits and oxygen tanks. And if that wasn't enough, Mars also lacks a powerful magnetic shield like Earth's, leaving its surface exposed to harsh radiation from the sun and deep space. If you're eyeing a move to Mars, buckle up. It's about to get real. To survive on the red planet, your whole body needs top-notch protection from head to toe. But that's not all. Martian conditions also bring some seriously chilly, steamy weather. Yep, water on Mars boils at just 4 degrees Celsius or 39.2 Fahrenheit. Talk about a shockingly quick heat wave. So, no swimming in the Martian waters for our future space settlers. And let's be honest, those spacesuits aren't going anywhere anytime soon. But the challenges don't stop there. Get ready for a temperature roller coaster on Mars. It's like going from freezing cold to scorching hot in seconds. At the poles, things can drop as low as -153 degrees Celsius. That's a chilling -243 Fahrenheit for those keeping track. But don't think you'll always be shivering. Temperatures can spike up to 20 degrees Celsius or about 68 Fahrenheit during warmer periods. And if you're hanging out at the equator, you might even feel like you're in paradise with temps reaching up to a warm 27 degrees Celsius. That's around 81 degrees Fahrenheit for our US friends. Think you can handle extreme temperatures? Think again. The harsh conditions on Mars would put your endurance to the test. And we're not just talking about the scorching highs or bone-chilling lows. But here's another mind-blowing difference between our home planet and Mars. It takes the red planet a whopping 687 Earth days, or 669 Martian days, to complete one full orbit around the Sun. That means a Martian year is almost twice as long as an Earth year. Talk about a slow and steady pace. Now that you know about those super long Martian years, here's another interesting tidbit. Seasons do exist, but they drag on way longer than ours. We're talking months turning into what feels like an eternity. But enough about Mars' laid-back vibe, let's dive back into the main event. If humans were to set up shop on the red planet, we'd need to figure out how many of us can make the intergalactic move. And before we start packing spacesuits, let's get real. Not everyone's getting a ticket, yet. Blasting off into space isn't for the faint of heart. It takes some serious training. But what if you're not exactly astronaut material? Maybe your body has other plans, and it's a total showstopper on the health front. That could mean no cosmic adventure for you, at least, until someone invents those awesome pods from Passengers where everyone can snooze while getting rocked to Mars. Sounds like a dream come true. However, even with those high-tech sleeping beauties, there's still another hurdle many brave space travelers don't make it halfway. What happens when they hit turbulence? Let's talk numbers. Since the 1960s, we've sent an impressive 45 spacecraft to Mars, but in a whopping 26 of those cases, something went terribly wrong. It's clear that space travel comes with some huge risks. Launch day itself can be super scary too, and it's not just about making it out of Earth's atmosphere safely. The whole journey is like one giant game of cosmic Russian roulette. And here's another thing, even if we do manage to survive all those perils, we might still have a major problem waiting for us when we land on Mars. There simply might not be enough space. Can you imagine? Scientists are still scratching their heads trying to come up with solutions. Now imagine living in a futuristic city beneath Mars' rusty surface. It's not as far-fetched as you think. Scientists propose building underground habitats with an extensive network of tunnels that would allow our Martian settlers to ditch oxygen tanks and pressurized suits while still keeping their homes safe from the harsh environment. Could you picture yourself among the brave pioneers who dare to call Mars home? It's no wonder people are buzzing about this interplanetary dream. Elon Musk, for one, is all in on colonizing the red planet and making Earthlings a multi-planetary species. SpaceX was founded on a bold vision to turn humans into a multi-planetary species. And while we're still tackling the big challenges ahead, scientists are already brainstorming ways to transform Mars into a new home for us. Enter terraforming, a fancy word for making Mars more Earth-like. Imagine harnessing the power of tiny superheroes like cyanobacteria and phytoplankton to convert Martian CO2 into oxygen. It's a game changer. And that's not all. We might also use space-age mirrors to reflect some sunshine onto the red planet, or even nudge comets towards Mars for an extra warming boost. With these innovative solutions, who knows, one day Mars could be our new backyard. Thanks for joining us on this intergalactic